Who wants a pot of coffee? I just made coffee. You want a cup of coffee? Sure, there you go. Who wants coffee? Anybody else want coffee? Who wants coffee?
And now it's time for the man with the caffeine, the new tropics for the brain. It's Coffee with Mike. Hang in, hang tight, grab your cup, and let's get this thing started.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Java Chat. It's Coffee with Mike, and I'm sitting here with Douglas Smythe. And I gotta tell you, this one's interesting, and here's why. This is not the typical entrepreneur interview. We are going to be talking about something that has always been a subject of interest of mine, except for as of late.
Same here.
Yeah, and as you can see for him too, he's actually a specialist. Well, I don't want to say that, a specialist. I mean, this man lives it. The art of shaving is his specialty.
And male grooming.
And male grooming. He understands this male grooming inside and out. And I wanted to bring him on to kind of talk about that, because there's a lot of entrepreneurs out there that really don't know what that is and don't have a proper concept of what it means to groom properly. I have other friends that like celebrity groomers and stuff like that. And when I saw Douglas's name pop up on the list of here's a potential podcast guest, I was like, yeah, we're having him. So thanks for joining us, Douglas. I really appreciate you coming and hanging out.
I'm flattered to be here. I mean, it's COVID's funny because I'm getting a lot of calls from people. I've been on this list for years, and like never before I've appealed to so many folks until they had to start growing out their hair and their beard. Couldn't see the barber anymore.
Yeah.
So
It's
good to be here.
And even my barber, Great Clips doesn't exactly do a really good job at trimming
Right,
beards. So
right.
I just kind of do it at home. But I don't even have the tools. I mean, I'm hoping we can get into some of that as we go.
Sure.
You've been doing this. Well, we all were introduced as kids into shaving. I mean, I learned it when I was 15.
Did you learn it? I found a lot of the times dads don't even teach it anymore. It's just something you had to pick up and kind of learn on your own.
I was actually in a boarding school, and the counselors were the teachers. They actually took us into, the men's restroom. I was in a dorm, the locker room.
Yep.
Pulled out the razor, talked to us about the premise of why it's good, why you should do it, what is needful. And then they looked at the younger ones, us 15, 16-year-olds, and said, except you guys, keep the peach fuzz until you hit 18. You don't want to start now. And I'm thinking, oh, how bad can it be?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
At 23. So, it really depends on your own facial hair growth, body hair growth.
Genetics.
Genetics. Thank you. Everybody's a little different. I've had friends who have been peach fuzzed forever. They can't grow a beard no matter what they do. Right. Then there's gentlemen like us where we just look at the mirror and we can go,
yeah, exactly.
I don't remember what commercial or joke that was.
I do remember that though. Yeah. That
was
a commercial.
Yeah, it was. That was hilarious. So you got into this watching your dad on the weekends.
Yes.
And then what happened? I mean, was it just something you happened to walk in on and go, wow, that's interesting? Or what's the story there?
No, I was a little kid. My dad would he inherited 2 razors from my granddad.
Oh, wow.
Both double-edged safety razors, something like this.
Yeah. That's what I got.
So he would, he's working most of the week, and he worked 9 to 5, like most gents did back in the day. Mm-hmm. And he would, on the weekends, it was his time off. He would take a relaxed approach to shaving and use those instead of the cartridge razor or the electric shaver, whatever he was using at the time. And he really made a big to-do out of it, because it was his time.
Mm-hmm.
And he would pull up a little stool next to the sink. I'd stand up there and watch him. He would give me another razor without the blade inside, lather me up, and we would both go at it.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so he was teaching me like the muscle memory aspects of it and the technique. I didn't realize it at the time, and I would do that for a couple of years while I was like 5 to maybe 8 years old. I don't even know, but I was very young, and it was something we did. And then I stopped, obviously, as I got older. It wasn't as cool to hang out with your dad and fake shave with him. And then when I was of age, around 18, I did get a cartridge razor in the mail, as I think most guys did.
Yeah.
Somehow the civil service has our information and shares it with Gillette. Yeah, exactly.
That's just know. Creepy.
Super creepy. And so yeah, I got it just like everyone else did. I probably had my own before then, but so I was using a cartridge razor for years too, just like everyone else. Only because at that time, this is pre-internet,
Yeah.
so you couldn't find double-edged blades anymore. You couldn't find the single blades.
They were gone. Yeah,
they were gone. And this is partly by design. I call it the cartridge razor conspiracy, and we can get into that in a little bit. But so eventually, when I started, online looking at different forums and whatnot, and I'm a huge collector of antiques. I'm a collector. I'm a hobbyist.
Love it.
This was like it immediately appealed to me when I saw these vintage razors. Actually, I think I picked them up in the store first, the antique shop.
Mm-hmm.
And and the thing about them is that not only are they beautiful and elegant and look as good as they did the day they came off the assembly line, they're also still usable. And
yeah.
not many antiques are. So I mean, these are heirloom pieces. You can pass this down to your kids, and they're going to last forever. So that immediately attracted me to the hobby. And it is a hobby, actually. There's forums and groups out there, as there is with anything else. Sure. And so I stumbled back into that around 2001, maybe 2002, early 2000s. And that's when it really started to pick up in the niche. Uh-huh. And but I didn't join any groups or anything like that at the time. And I was still doing my own thing. And it wasn't until about 2008 that I left the country. I left for Central America, and I lived in Central America for about 4 years.
Where were you?
Yeah, Costa Rica.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, and I was living there actually in the rainforest. It is
even better. That is absolutely
I was
awesome.
in the rainforest, living in a hammock. That was my bed. Everyone thought I was having a breakdown when I moved out there and told them what I was doing. They're like, "You're doing what?" I was like, "No, trust me."
Yeah, no, they don't get it. They don't get it. I know where you're at with that, brother.
Yeah, so I was there for a hot minute, and one thing I noticed, 4 years, is at night in the evening, bugs would come out, sand fleas would come out and bite the hell out of me. And I was looking for something always to treat those bites with, like an afterbite type product. Sure. Didn't have anything. So I ended up collecting all the right chemicals that I could at the local pharmacy or pharmacia, and creating my own like afterbite type solution. I was calling Ichnomas. And it worked. It was so,
nice.
Yeah, it was so successful that I had people, locals and like fellow tourists like knocking on my tent flaps, wanting to borrow this. And I thought to myself, if I ever make it back to the United States, I'm going to sell this. I'm going to ship it back down here and make it up there and ship it back down here. And I did that. Eventually I made it back to the States.
I'm still trying to figure out how you knock on a tent flap. I'm not sure how that works.
Don't think that. But I was back when I came back to the United States is what it all came down to. I came back to a different world. It was now an Etsy world. Where people were creating their own little shops and whatnot. Yep. So finally it was more than a pipe dream. I was like, I could actually do this and see how it goes. And I did. And it took off. I also created another product called Stinknomas. And it was an emergency insect repellent / deodorant that was in like a chapstick type container. Yeah. So as you sweat, it released the aroma chemicals that would repel the bugs naturally. And that actually did better than Ichnomas.
Oh,
but I was getting killed by the shipping. So I was like, I need to turn this around and think about something to sell up here. Yeah. And that's when I stumbled into like mustaches, facial hair, which I've always been into. But I noticed that the blog, or the domain rather, howtogrowmustache.com, no one owned it. So I was like, I need to do this. I need to start a blog. Yeah.
I thought that would have been the ones that got parked.
You'd think so. And so I bought that, and I immediately began writing articles and growing out my mustache and trying to sell ads. And I was realizing early on that I really can't find, it's such a niche thing at the time. It was anyways. Yeah. It was tough to find anyone to advertise me. I was like, I need to create my own product. And my girlfriend was already doing artisan soaps, body soaps. And I was like, mustache wax. I need to do that. And I did from there. And that was like our bread and butter. It took off. It was so huge. It was before everyone and their mother offered one.
Yep.
And one thing led to another, and I stumbled into making my own shaving soap. Actually, I really only did that as for myself. I'm a huge Bay Rum fan.
Nice.
And yeah, exactly. But I couldn't find a shaving soap to match my splash, my aftershave.
Right.
So I decided to create my own, and it came out so well. I sent it to some friends and so other bloggers that I used to work for writing, and they were like, "Well, when are you going to sell it?" And I was like, "Sell it?" It hadn't even occurred to me. So yeah, I made that put together, and it took off. It blew up because I did things a little bit differently. I put the soap in like a CD tin.
Yeah.
So large format, like soap puck. And no one's ever seen anything like that before. And it took off, which was a blessing and a curse.
Sure.
But that's pretty much where we started in a nutshell.
Isn't it interesting? And for those of you that are listening, did you not just hear the same kind of entrepreneurial story? I mean, literally,
it's always the same, right?
It's always the same. They fall into something that they don't realize a market wants. They might have been a little early. They might have been right on time. They might have even been a little late, and it still picked up. So in your case, it was It was right on time, no doubt. I mean, when people
really
are just
was.
like, when are you going to sell it? That's kind of like the big waving flag of, hello, take my money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That's exactly what it was. And it really resonated with people. They hadn't seen anything like that before, like a
Right.
large format. And I was coming from a different place. So I didn't know there were rules that I couldn't break. And so right there, you know, I mean, it really set us apart. In fact, one of our taglines is try something different, because we are very different to everything else out there right now. Now there's, you know, at that time, there's probably about 5 artisan shave soap makers. And now there's over 300.
I'm sure. Yeah. I mean, even my buddy gave me 2 different kits for shaving, and the shave soap, and the first one is gone. Obviously I haven't been shaving, so I haven't used this, haven't used the second one yet. But I have found the experience of sitting there and creating the foam is actually like mind soothing.
Oh, it's like the green tea ceremony. It's very, it's very ritualistic.
So run me through that, because I mean, obviously there's something going on there.
Yeah, there is.
What is that? I mean, how do you explain that?
I think in this, you know, this world of, you know, this technical world we live in, it's more of a tactile experience that's missing.
Yeah. I can see that.
It's your chance where you can get away for that half an hour or however long it takes to shave, set up, you create a hot lather. It's not goo in a can. You know, it's nothing like sterile like that. It's not a plastic toy Fisher Price, my first razor type thing.
But it's foamy.
Yeah, I know, right? But it's psychology.
Yeah,
and,
total psychology.
So there's something to be said about creating your own lather, hot lather, and have it be hot the entire shave. It is more closer to the barbershop experience.
Oh yeah.
You know,
that was always fun.
It is, and it's
I miss that because
nothing gets you closer.
Yeah, well, and it was always cool. You knew when you heard that little machine, because they'd go over there and push the button, and you knew what was coming. It was like, oh, it's time to start falling asleep.
Yeah, exactly. And those are the hot towel too, and all these things like cross over to home use. So that's pretty much what traditional wet shaving, what we're talking about, is about. And then of course there's the brush. You know, it's exfoliating as well as stimulating the skin. I mean, it's like petting yourself.
There's even different grades of brushes.
Oh yeah, knots, brush knots, and blades. Like that's the thing. You know, in a nutshell, cartridge razors you can get 4 for $25.
Yeah, something like that.
Club, some type of club. But even if you're in a club, it's still, you know, it's not the right tool for the job at the end of the day. So you're saving money, but you're using the wrong product for the job. Whereas with double-edged blades, you can get 100 for $9 to $15.
Yeah,
and not only that, there's hundreds of brands to choose from, so you can really dial it in and find what works for your unique face by all these different brand of blades and razors and brushes. And, you know, it's going to be different for everybody, and that's the thing that people need to realize, and why a lot of us hate shaving is because we've been using these, you know, the wrong tool for the job such a long time. It's not a one-size-fits-all thing that we've been convinced of.
That's funny to me, because I always, like, you know, as soon as they came out with the triple blade, I was like, ooh, that's going to be better. And then the quadruple blade, and then the quintuple blade. And I'm looking, I'm going, 5 blades? Does it really take that much to get it? So, and then I went back and tried the single, and shit, I get a better shave on the single than I do with any of the multi blades. And I don't. So we're going to talk about that, but I want to keep going with this, because you've now moved into the Etsy era, if you will.
Yes.
And you started selling that tin. Yes. What else came out of that? I mean, what other products did you end up creating?
Yeah, well, I mean, at the time I had the blog first, and from the blog sprouted a podcast called Mustache and Blade. And I hosted that with a documentary filmmaker. He was my co-host, Ryan Stephen Green.
Is that still going?
No, that had probably about a 2-year run, maybe.
Okay.
We did it for a long while, and I studied podcasting for like a year before I started doing it. Right. It had to be perfect. It would take me 8 to 12 hours to edit every episode.
I feel you.
There'd be no breathing. There'd be no laughing.
I feel you.
So I mean, I really was hell bent on getting it right the first time, and that did really well. And so from there, that's around the same time I started creating these products.
Okay.
So it was a good marriage, because it really got our name out there. At a time when there were very few names out there too, so we really were everywhere.
How did it come down to, like, for funding? Because you had to come up with stock, didn't you?
Yes. Well, I mean, I had my other job. I had my real job at the
You were
time, which
working. You were working.
I was doing
Gotcha.
marketing. Yes, and graphic design. So I would pour that in, but everything we made off the products, we pour back into the
Sure.
business.
Sure.
Still to this day, we do that. You know, we own our own facility and lab now, and we have employees
Even
and everything
better.
else. So, but I
Even
mean, we've
better.
always been pouring it back into the business, and we've been around for 8 years now. But so that's what we did. We just kept, it just was such a huge success.
Sure.
You know, it really was like, and that's a good thing, and it's a bad thing because like the majority of people are going to love it. You know, they're seeing something different, but there are going to be the suspicious trolley type people too. Like, who's this guy? You know, this outlier that just showed up. And so we got that too. And actually, that actually proved to be really good. Like the trolls and the haters really spread our name even further.
Oh yeah.
And gave us kind of an edge. And I'm not really an edgy type of guy. So it was like,
you don't need to. The trolls will make that edge for you.
Exactly.
And that's one of the best parts about having haters is, you know, they always say, once you got a hater, you've arrived. For a while, I didn't get that. But as I was working with the angel investment group that I used to be with and a few other things that were going on, I ended up finding that the haters were the ones that really pushed you.
Yeah.
As far as your brand out there. So it's really it's a blessing in disguise. You mentioned the word outliers. Have you read that book?
I think I might have. Is
It's
it by
one of
Purple Cow guy? What's his name?
I can't remember that.
Oh yeah, no, I have outliers. Yeah, it's yay big. It's about outliers in industry. Yes, I do have that. It's yellow, I think. Or
yep, you fit that.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, well, that's probably why I bought the book and never read it. But no, I do. I have read it. I can't just get on where it is right now.
I'm like rereading things and reading 3 books at the same time. I got it.
Yeah,
I got it.
Yeah, but
that's so fast forward to today. What's out there now? As far as in regards to the store, the blog, what's in place now? It's 8 years later. You've done all of this.
Well, yeah, we've done a lot since then. I mean, we had a few podcasts since then. We have currently a show, a morning shave show.
Okay.
Which is more. Don't imagine 2 guys shaving in the morning. It's not that. It's more like a coffee talk show like this. Wayne's World meets Antique Roadshow.
Oh my gosh.
You know,
I'm sorry, but I'm getting a mental picture of 2 guys in front of a mirror. And the subject of the day.
Well, you laugh, but those videos exist too. It's just not us. Ours is far more interesting because you don't have to watch us shave, but we do. We talk about the history of shaving, of different vintage razors. We look at different vintage aftershaves. It's also some wackiness. Sometimes we compete in different things, but it's highly. We kind of are going for what car talk is, where whether you're into cars or not, you're still going to enjoy listening to the show. Yeah, and so. That's I'dLatherBeShaving.com. Learning more.
Yeah. That'll be down in the comments, you guys, of course, as usual. We're gonna take a short pause, as usual, for our sponsors. We give them a little love, about 30 seconds worth, and then we will be and then we will be right back here with Douglas Smythe. Thank you for hanging in. Java Chat. Be right back. And we're back. Java Chat here with Douglas Smythe, talking about shaving. Beard care, male grooming, mustache grooming, all of the things that you never knew you should know. But let's be clear, you should. Even if you can't grow a full out beard, it's okay. You're not in a bad place. You're in a good place. You're safe here. We love you. It's okay. So second section of our podcast, we always talk about what motivates, what inspires, what gets you moving. What are some of the things that inspired you when you started figuring out something was going? We'll start with that one. And then what kept you going?
Okay. Well, anyone who knows me or has listened to any interviews in the past knows that I've taken pretty much all of my passions. I have a background, in theater, in design, in marketing. I've taken everything I'm into. And musician. Yeah, I was a professional musician actually for years.
Same.
But I just incorporate all my passions into this business. And when you do that, it may sound trite, but it doesn't feel, it's not work,
right.
And you're your own boss. So you're not going to fire yourself. So, if it just turns out that other people got it also. So that's really what happened. I never really compromised. I've always just incorporated everything I'm into what we do, and if you look at our products, they're very sci-fi and alien, and I didn't mention this yet, but our products now, we have, hundreds at this point, but there's an
Cool.
ongoing saga. We created a story with different characters. They show up on different labels,
Sure.
sales pages or short story, not necessarily short stories. Some of them are actually extremely long novellas, sci-fi
Nice.
that are connected throughout all of our products. So there's an ongoing thing. So we have a cult following there too. So I've made it really fun for myself and an outlet for a lot of my artistic interests, or just interests in general.
Absolutely.
And, I run with the Ancient Alien crowd guys too, a few of that. So, it's like I've managed to meet all the people from all these different places and just make it work for what we do.
Isn't it wonderful that it's no longer a secret?
Yeah, exactly.
They finally admitted it, like we didn't know.
Yeah, well, they keep admitting it. They admitted it originally 2.5 years ago, and now they brought it up again. Everyone's like hearing it for the first time. It's like, God, it's old news.
yeah, very old news. When you well, back in the 90s, there were the what was it, the old films that they had over at 51 doing the autopsies and stuff like that. And they were trying to figure out whether they were trying to figure out whether it was right or not. Boy, what a tangent. Yeah. Cool. Alien themed shaving cream.
Oh yeah, exactly. Well, you never see an alien with a beard, right?
This is true. Welcome. You see, you usually see them quite smooth. That's so you're saying that this is their secret then? I see what you're doing.
Possibly be their secret. Yeah, this is all about disclosure, is what we're looking at now, folks.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have an alien sympathizer here in the name of Douglas Smythe.
No, but it's true. We're on a very sci-fi bend. I mean, like some of our product boxes, if you can see.
Oh, that's cool.
This razor glows in the dark.
Actually. That razor glows in the dark. Huh? Okay.
Yeah, we actually.
I know what I'm ordering first.
Yeah, exactly.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Actually, I got to be careful with that because my dumb ass will actually try to shave in the dark without thinking.
Yeah, I actually have a warning for people like you on the box.
Oh my gosh! Please tell me that wasn't because of a reality.
No. It's just because I live in the United States and I know what people are capable of. Oy vey.
Oh shit, that's too funny.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I can see people doing TikTok memes around that one.
Oh,
I'm just gonna try it like.
Well, actually, I bought some fake blood to do my own TikTok, and I was gonna do one where I drop the razor, and then next frame I'm catching it, and then lift my hand back up, and there's just blood all over. It had occurred to me that this would be good for TikTok.
Well, at this point, it is October, so it might be appropriate at this time. I'm just saying. Just
if TikTok's still around at this point,
it is.
I mean,
It is. It's not going anywhere.
Okay.
There's plenty enough of the insiders that says it's not going anywhere. They just got to figure out the rest of it. We'll see how that plays out.
Right.
So in the midst of that time, there's always the leaders or readers thing. What kind of books have you read, or who have been some of your inspirations that you've kind of looked up to?
Yeah, geez, you caught me off guard with this. I would have pulled some books off my shelf. It's funny because another podcast I have is actually, it's a book one. It's called What's Doug Reading?
Nice.
And yeah, but the thing is, it's not what I was doing yesterday on our show was humans are not from Earth. Stuff like really obscure, or God bless you. 40 times, just a lot of random stuff we're looking at. But again, when you do what I do, which is incorporate all your interests into what you do,
right?
This stuff does make sense. A lot of our, I do a lot of research before I produce a soap. We've done soap trilogies based on different concepts and ideas,
sweet
storylines. So for me, I read far and I read wide. When it comes to marketing stuff, I did a lot of marketing, reading a lot of marketing books over the last 8 years. I mean, the stuff that sticks out is like, Purple Cow or Hug Your Haters.
Yeah.
I'd have to look next to my bed to see what's there.
That had to have been a perspective shifter for you. Love Your Haters.
That? Hug Your Haters. Yeah.
Hug Your Haters.
Well, it's the thing is, a lot of times you read these books and it's stuff you already know. It just reaffirms that for yourself, and and it will resonate with you. And Hug Your Haters it didn't tell me anything I didn't know, I wasn't doing, rather. It just told me that I was doing it the right way.
You're doing it right.
Exactly. So validation's always good, but Hug Your Haters, there's a lot to learn from someone bitching and moaning about your products.
Oh yeah.
You can take that and you can get mad at it, or you can take it and go, oh, you're right, I should tweak out that box. I should do, so it's about, it is a perspective shift once someone validates that common sense thing, But then there's a lot of marketing books out there now that I think are complete garbage. Everyone seems to want to write a book thanks to self-publishing. It's made it easy for everybody. And these people are very good with advertisements, or with advertising, Google AdWords especially. So they'll suck you right in. It's like, it's just usually recycled stuff from the last 10 years.
What's interesting to me on most of that is that, and I've said this for years, the principles of marketing have not changed. Only the media by which it's delivered.
Exactly.
And really,
exactly.
even the rules within that have not changed. Only by which tactics and strategies you employ to engage.
It's like blogging. I mean, there's nothing new about blogging.
Nope.
Tantalizing headlines like that, that's yellow journalism from 100 years ago. I mean, like, it's the same thing.
Do you remember ever seeing that? And I know that Agora writes about this, and it's also in some of the older copywriting, is the one about the guy that plays the piano at the party. It's a sales letter. And it literally talks about a guy who goes, we get to a party and everybody's, trying to kind of laugh about me talking about I can play the piano until I sat down and played the piano. And I learned it from this course. And it was a printed sales letter.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, wow, that's amazing. No, it's not. You see it all over the internet now. Yeah. The difference is the media by which it's delivered. It has not changed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And creatives
like Go ahead. The fonts they're using, you see those sales pages. It's the same forms that you used to get in the mail with the highlighted. I remember they're only simulating. It's different substrates. Yeah, you're absolutely correct.
I get such a kick out of that too, because the old sales letters were newsletters. They were almost 8 or 9 pages long, and they were usually meant for investing in the stock market. The bigger ones.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
The smaller ones were for the little things, and then of course out came the comic books and those ads, and then they started condensing everything into the little quarter page. Blah blah blah. And now we have what? Right sidebar, top bar, search results.
Yeah.
Or banner ads, whatever.
Yeah.
Guys, hasn't changed.
No, it's the same. I mean, and the psychology behind it will never change because we're still human. So, I mean, you're pushing the same
We're not
buttons.
from here, so are you sure we're human?
Well, we're not. Jury's still out on that. You'll have to watch my other show to really what's going on.
That link will also be in the comments, ladies and gentlemen. So just so you guys know.
You don't. Yeah, I don't know if they want that one. We go to weird places, but it's like a paranormal. It's kind of like the paranormal reading rainbow.
It's not a bad thing. To me, it's cool to be able to see different perspectives. I don't care whether they're believable or out, because it's just interesting to see to me. And there's a lot of stuff out there that you really have to stop for a second and go, that's actually kind of possible considering what we are and how we are and how intentional and powerful we can be just from the stories that we hear of the going ons in this world.
Yeah. I think to piggyback on that, when you ask me what's a good book or what I recommend doing exactly what you just said, is reading far and wide and on all these different subjects, things that you're not necessarily comfortable with, just to shake things up in your head. I mean, I take high doses of vitamin C before I go to bed at night for lucid dreaming. And I'll read books like Einstein's Dreams is a great book. It's about the dreams, the fictional dreams of Einstein, but it just gets you thinking differently. And that's what you want to do, is you want to think differently as an entrepreneur, as a business person. And so exposing yourself to these things really will have you thinking differently, and it will shift your perspective. That, and travel. I mean, you really got to shake things up. You got to feel uncomfortable to get comfortable.
My allergies are having fun today.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
One of the things that I always enjoyed doing with before sleep are using binaural beats.
Me too. Yep.
And making sure that obviously I have clear breathing. Boy, some of the dreams I have. Holy cow.
Oh yeah. Binaural beats, I'll listen to
goodness.
Yeah. Binaural beats, I'll use them when I'm studying too during the course of the day. For sleep, for meditation. I do yoga every day and pranayama breathing. So yeah, binaural beats are an excellent tool there, especially when you're studying. Like I study other languages too. So just having them on in the background really get me focused.
You've heard of the Wim Hof Method, right? Breathing?
I don't know. Which one's that?
Oh, go look up Wim Hof breathing. That's the guy that spent, I think he spent like a week out on an iceberg on his own. Yeah. And dude's got this breathing exercise, and it's kind of nuts, dude. I mean, you sit there and you either sit up or lay down. You breathe deep 20 times.
Mm-hmm.
and then you let all the air out, forced out, even the residual, and you hold it until you feel like you're about to get that fight or flight response.
Yeah.
And then right when you breathe in, you get a reset in your head.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's a real weird feeling.
Yeah.
But it's like, if something was bugging you, it doesn't bug anymore.
Yeah,
it's not erased. It's still there, but the anxiety that may be attached to it isn't half as bad as it was previously.
Yeah. Well, pranayama breathing in itself is different exercises. Different breathing exercises, a lot like that, where you're holding your breath at different points and breathing in for different points. And so it's similar to that. In fact, that sounds like a pranayama, whether he knew it or not. It sounds like he's borrowing from.
Check it out.
At least he goes from the same well.
Yeah, probably. I mean, humans have to breathe, period, no matter what. And I think a lot of
they're gonna figure out the same stuff. It's like spirals, and like in cave art, people like clearly they were talking to this other culture. It's like, no, what's the easiest thing to do? You stick your finger in the sand as a kid, and you start doing spirals.
Oh, look, Daddy, look what I made.
Yeah, exactly.
And then all of a sudden, big shapes in cornfields in the UK. Anyway, we had. Conspiracy there.
They're listening. Mike, they're listening.
If that's what they're doing, they must be smacking their foreheads right now going, good Lord, what did we come across?
Right.
What other things have you been doing? I mean, obviously you've got this pursuit going on, but what other things have you been doing that, you put your passion in this? What other things have been created by putting those passions together? Is it just the shaving stuff, or are there other things that you're doing?
For the last 8 years, I haven't taken a vacation. I've done nothing but work. And again, it's doing stuff. It's making it interesting for myself.
You're kind of already in vacation if you're doing that, brother. So I
kind of,
yeah,
I do. Actually, I was about to leave in April. I was going to do the Camino de Santiago.
Okay.
Hiking down from France into Spain. It's a 500-mile hike.
Wow.
Visiting cathedral to cathedral. It's an ancient pilgrimage. And so I was about to do that after wanting to do it for 20 years.
Sure.
And then COVID hits. It also killed my conference. My conference was supposed to happen a week before I left. And that also, we had to cancel that after, getting all these people on board, all these speakers and so on and so forth. And it was our 6th year, it's a big thing. But COVID kind of killed everything. But it was going to be our first time to really we can get away and do stuff. But we've really we don't have kids. We've been working our tails off for 8 years, just doing things that other people really just can't. And
right.
We also live in the middle of nowhere. And so it's easy to just work all the time. Because
you live in the middle of nowhere. That you must be in Arizona.
Yeah, right.
I'm kidding.
But we moved here 8 years ago.
Gotcha.
5 years ago. So we don't know anybody. Typically when you move somewhere, you're working somewhere new, you're meeting people that way. We're the business owners. So we're not meeting anyone new. And it's, it can be a little lonely in that way, but to have this much focus and zero distraction is only a boon to your business.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't have to be that way forever. It's a small sacrifice considering the payback.
And, you still take personal time though. I mean, you still have you time.
I hike in the desert.
Yeah, that's you time. So I mean, you still honor yourself, and that's again, it goes back to you're living a passion, you're enjoying that passion, you're building a business, but you still have you, and you're honoring you. And I think I still think a lot of entrepreneurs forget that part. They think that honoring them is walking outside for a second and then coming back in. That's a break. That's not me time.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to have me time because the business becomes so much a part of you that is, the me time that you're getting.
It can
and
be.
A lot of people forget that. People give business owners a hard time, especially, you hear, they treat their employees bad and yada, yada, yada. Employees, a lot of times, they get to punch out on Friday and forget all about everything.
Mm-hmm.
We don't ever punch out. We're always punched in. I'm answering customer emails from my bathroom at 3 a.m. sometimes. It's always on.
Yep.
And you have to be, and the thing is, you have to embrace, sorry about that. You have to embrace that, blogging, podcasting. It all seems like a pain in the butt in the beginning and it's not going to do anything for you, but it will if you stay at it and it'll become second nature. You have to fall in love with the process. Yeah. And if you don't fall in love with the process, you want to remain in business, you need to find someone else to work for you to handle that part. But I've managed to wear all the hats and fall in love with the process. And I do a lot of tedious stuff. There's nothing glamorous about what we do. No. I think people realize that after the fact. They hear our podcast, they think it sounds sexy. And once they take a stab at it, they're like, oh, this is a lot more work than what I thought I was getting into.
Yeah, right.
But you got to love it. And
this started in 2017 with me putzing around on my phone on Anchor. I mean, literally, it was just me talking on my phone for a couple of minutes going, here's what I think. Not that anybody gives a shit. And then eventually somebody said, hey, you gotta find some people to talk to. Start interviewing some people. Start getting this thing moving. And I was like, all right, all right. And I have friends, you know, that are marketers and people that are
Good for you.
entrepreneurs and investors. And yeah, I actually made some time to make friends. I don't have many, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
And over time, it's gotten to a point where I have better and better guests. Not that the first ones were not good. It's just the quality of the guests have been getting better and better. Look at this. I got you here. And it's there's others that are still yet to come. And I'm after a few more that I can't say their names, but if I get them, not only is it an honor, but it's a proof of the pudding that, yeah, people are listening. You know, people are digging what we do, what you do, what I do. Podcasting is a friggin' commitment. I mean, there's 4 people that work on this podcast besides me.
Yeah.
I do the video portion, the audio and the editing and the written editing are done by 2 other people.
Right.
And the last one helps coordinate, you know, what goes where and when and all that stuff. Because I've got other stuff I got to do for the marketing agency.
Sure.
Yeah. So it's. I think when people begin to realize it is a 24/7 deal, one, it's gonna keep the ones that don't want to be business owners out. And I don't say that negatively. This isn't for everybody.
No.
This is one of those deals. If it's a passion, you're gonna stay in it 24/7.
Yeah.
It's not a question of if, it's a question of when.
Yeah.
But and if you're not into it that much, then it's okay.
Yeah.
I think that also gets misconstrued too. When people, you know, when entrepreneurs start talking about, I love the process, I love the 24/7, I don't want to be in a job, then immediately people think, well, they just look down on people with jobs. No, we don't. We need people like that. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. No.
They're very necessary to the operation.
Podcast in itself is a key tool in entrepreneurship, I think. And I think everyone, like growing a beard, I think everyone should try it at least once to see if it works for them. I mean, if there's anyone listening right now that's a college grad and they don't know what they're going to do after college, I say start a podcast.
Why not?
And whatever your interest is. Well, the thing is, and it also breaks down the doors. Like, you're not going to get that meeting with that CEO. You're not going to get that. You're not going to get to meet him and give him your application or whatever, you know. But if you interview him, you're now appealing to his ego. So now you got a one-on-one with this guy and connections after the fact. So it's a great way to network. It's probably the best way to network. And that's what we did starting off with our podcast. I met everyone in the budding industry at that time, all the big names. But now, and my name, you know, Douglas Smythe is next to their name on Google searches and whatnot. You know, we become just as relevant as them. That was really like, it gave us some Google juice in that way.
I'm sure you've gotten a few nods by now too.
Oh, well, now we're the big names, but I mean, but we started off like going after the big fish and aligning ourselves with them. Like, it really, you know, I would, during these interviews, I'm editing the interviews. So if they're giving away almost secrets type stuff, I'm writing it down and putting it in my back pocket and not releasing that in the interview. So it's like an education in itself. So I definitely think podcasting is key to growing a business, or at least starting a business, or getting a feel for a niche that you're new to. And because I mean, we interviewed everybody who was anybody in the niche at that time, and it was amazing. It was a free education for. Granted, we were putting in a lot of work. It was still a free education to a certain extent.
It's a free networking tool. It's a free educational tool,
and easier than ever.
Yeah, today even more so. I mean, as much as I have this, and you have, I think you've got a blue over there too. Because I was looking.
Oh yeah. Well, I have some more expensive. When I had my show, I have a heel.
Again. And this is just the Yeti, but I mean,
this is my, you know, when I get offered on a show, this is what I keep at home. But at work, I have the, you know, the soundboard. This is what you needed back in the day. Now you can just plug right in and go.
If you got Audacity, you can record anything you freaking want.
Take advantage of that, people, if you're listening. But like, it was harder back then, as it was with anything, you know. Like, I look at some of the setups now, and I'm like, geez, it used to take me so long to do this, that, and the other thing.
Do you remember
getting the other? And
do you remember the old Roland scratch pad? The one that had the digital drive in it.
Yeah. I remember
that was my scratch pad. Of course, podcasting wasn't a thing back then. That's what I used to do my recordings for when I was playing music, and it was for practice, or it was for just putzing around.
Right.
I had a thing was $1,500. Oh, and I remember the MDs. Yeah. I remember the MDs too. My buddies would live on that for the solo gigs, but that was $1,200, $1,500. Guys, this microphone alone is $130. $130.
I know. I know.
And you
I
don't,
even know.
and you don't even need that. If you get this camera that I have is a Logitech. It's the 950 or 990.
Yeah.
That's a buck 10, and it's got a microphone in it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to be this super, dead room sounded place. You can start it from your friggin' phone.
That's analysis paralysis.
Yeah,
and that's what I was going through back in the day. And again, I would be so frustrated to do the next show because I knew it was meant a week's worth of editing. And editing would be, again, 8 to 12 hours. And then you have, when you're done, you run out to your car and then plug it in the there to hear it through the car speakers, because that's where most people are listening to it. It's like being in a band. The album you have to listen to first in the car to see how it sounds. It was the same. If something wasn't right, I had to go back in and re-edit it all over again. And computers were working a lot slower back then. Oh my God. You have it so easy. So why not take advantage? There's apps, people, that you can use. So please take advantage of these.
All free.
Features.
All free.
All free.
I mean, we do ours on Anchor. Anchor's free. I mean, you really honestly have no excuse. So I would suggest taking his advice.
Yeah, you were going to meet a lot of people that you normally would not get an invite to. You would normally not normally be able to meet. The doorkeepers or gatekeepers would stop you at the front desk. You're not going to meet the CEO. This is one way to get in.
It's funny that you say that, because a phone call to a CEO through the gatekeeper for any other reason would be an absolute, I'm sorry, he's not available. But it's like, hey, I got a podcast. Your CEO is relevant to our subject matter. This is what we talk about. We'd love to have them as a guest.
Yeah.
And the response will shock you.
Yeah, it will.
Back in the day when we were only doing marketing, we'd call them up and ask them if we could send them our newsletter.
Right.
By email.
Yeah.
Well, we just got a subscriber.
Yeah, exactly.
And you could eventually send them a newsletter with a little bit of a pitch in it.
Yeah.
Want to guess how many of those converted? You now have a podcast.
Yeah.
And that could either become your next employer or your next client.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's absolutely true. You're appealing to their ego, and they understand. This should tell you how important podcasting is nowadays, is they're saying yes to these things. So they know too. There's a value.
Oh, they totally know. They totally know, because the further out they get, and the funny thing is that they're in a comfortable setting where it's just one-on-one. Yeah. So they can be more themselves.
Candid. Oh, they're far more
to a degree. Yeah, they can be a little more candid and far more themselves than they would normally be in a public situation where they have to hold a certain persona. Yeah. Being someone that teaches business etiquette, teaching leaders on how to be available and in what's the word, integrated with their teams without giving away too much of their personal stuff. Right. And that's not easy. I mean, that balance is very thin line these days. But in a podcast, they don't have to worry about that.
No, they can let their guards down.
You give them the opportunity to really talk it up.
Yeah, it's true. And then they feel almost indebted to you too. So, I mean, it's really,
isn't that weird?
It's
a law of reciprocation.
Well, that's
but
what
it's cool.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Have them give something to you and you got them for the rest. It's, it really is. It's a magical thing. So that is like a big secret that no one's really talking about. And when they do, they just gloss over it. But I'm glad we focused on that because it was huge for us. It really was.
I warned you, rabbit hole.
It's okay. We did the same thing
it's one of the good rabbit holes, though, and I'm glad we did that too. We're gonna take one more break. God, dude, we're rolling fast. But we're gonna take one more break, another 30 seconds, pause for the cause, whatever you want to call it, and we will be back with Douglas Smythe of I'd Rather Be Shaving. Did I say that right?
No. I'd lather be shaving.
I'd lather
Actually,
be
from
shaving.
phoenixshaving.com is our business. But the show is I'd lather be shaving.
I'd lather be shaving. I dig that name. I will have it down by the time we get back. 30 seconds. We'll be back. See you in a short minute. We're back, guys. Last section of Java Chat here with Douglas Smythe. Boy, did I just brain fart there? What was that pause? What the heck? We're talking about I'd lather be shaving. Told you after the break I'd get it. And one of the things that I would like you to describe is there, first off, is there such a thing as a perfect shave?
Well, yeah. I mean, there's a baby butt smooth shave, which I probably would say is the perfect shave, the ideal shave. And there's the DFS, which is the damn fine shave.
Oh, well, okay. Now that sounds like the gentleman's shave.
.com. That sounds like something else.
Totally. Gentlemanshave.com.
Yeah, no, this is a little bit different than the gentleman's shave.
Okay, so all right. What does that mean?
Well, that means the quality of the shave that typically we get wrong because we grew up using the wrong tools for the job.
Right.
At least our generation did,
Yeah.
anyways. We were
Yeah.
sold,
Yeah.
sold a bill of sale. I mean,
5 blades. Give
cartridge
me a break.
yeah, plastic cartridge razors in general are garbage for your face. At the end of the day, you just need one blade on your face, as God intended. These multi-blades, it was never ever about a better shave. If you want to talk business, what happened was between 1970 and 71, Gillette, who originally invented the double-edged blade, started losing their patent rights for that. So we had other businesses coming in to their niche. So they needed a new patent. They needed a new idea. Enter the cartridge razor, the multi-blade razor. Suddenly they went from a multi-million-dollar company to a multi-billion-dollar company overnight, and they started dulling down their double-edged blades to push gents over to picking up the new cartridge razors or the plastic razors.
Good job,
so
guys. Jeez.
It was by design. Yeah, exactly. So, and then, you start seeing razor burn, razor bumps, everything we know growing up. And
which brings you all the extra add-on products that they can also sell you.
Exactly. They create the problem and then they create the solution. I mean, the fact that we're seeing such an explosion in beards the last 10 years is just a byproduct of these things.
Yeah,
us hating the shave. We hate the products we're using, and we think it has to do with shaving. It has nothing to do with shaving. Before 1970, 71, no one was talking about razor burn. No one was talking about razor bumps. There were no products to deal with that.
You're right. Nobody did.
Look back at photos. Old jazz musicians, you don't see bumps on their skin or anything like that. We were getting good shaves, better shaves.
Yeah.
So it's all about the one blade because the double blade action, the triple blade action, it lifts the hair, cuts. The third blade lifts again, cuts. The fourth blade cuts, so on and so forth. So it's cutting too short.
Yeah.
And eventually it drops below the skin where it's begging to be ingrown or cause some type of irritation. Plus, every time you drag one blade across your face, you're also taking off a layer of skin. So when you're dragging 5 blades across your face, you're hurting yourself.
Yeah, you're cleaning yourself out.
You really are. And then you see all these exfoliating products on the market now too. Like guys don't have enough exfoliation going on when they're dragging a blade across their face. So we're doing more harm than good to ourselves with all these products they keep pushing on us. And cartridge razors and plastic razors are a huge part of the problem. And that's why the Dollar Shave Club, I mean, they're killing it price-wise.
All day.
But if you're using an inferior product, so what if you're saving money? You're still hurting yourself.
Makes sense.
That's what brings me. And then there's also the ecological aspect of it. I mean, it's better for the planet. You're not throwing plastic into the landfills. You're not throwing goo in the can into the landfills.
Right.
So it's better for the planet, better for your face, and better for your wallet. Again, 100 blades cost $9 to $15, and the razor will last multiple lifetimes. It's an heirloom piece.
I've been able to get through at least 6 shaves on one side.
One blade,
blade, one side of one blade, which means I get 12.
Oh, so you're not even turning in your technique? That's interesting.
Well, I don't know why, but I've been able to.
How do you keep track of what side of the blade you're on?
Oh, I feel it. Because when it gets dull enough, it starts pulling. I'm coarse enough that it will start pulling when it gets. To that
No,
point.
it should. It will definitely pull. But I mean, part of my technique is shaving. Then when there's lather covering the guard, flip it over and start using the other side.
Yeah, see, I didn't know this. I don't know this stuff.
That's the thing about double-edged blades is they're very, again, you have more play with them.
Yeah.
And I'd like to reiterate that, you can really fine tune the tool for your unique skin type and whisker type by choosing the right razor for the job, choosing the right blade. There's over 100 different blade brands. I always recommend guys pick up sample packs of DE blades and hang with one for a week. And then different brush qualities, different
Chick
knots.
still makes single razors. I had a package of theirs. It wasn't bad. I found
Injectors is what they're known for.
Yeah, I've seen or I've used a German brand. Can't remember the name of it, but that was the one that was the best.
Merkur.
Yes.
Merkur. Yeah.
Yep. And can't find them.
They're out there. They're still a huge company. They're out of Germany, but there's so many people.
If you know something that's comparable, dude, tell me after this because I'll.
I know.
Yeah.
Stuff
even if you got them, I'll take yours.
Are you talking about the razor or the blade?
The blades, the actual blades.
Oh, I know far better blades than what Merkur is selling.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah. So we'll talk about that after. So you talk about rotating the razor. So is this part of the theory of the perfect shave? How does that work? I mean, obviously you get yourself lathered up, blah blah blah. But I mean, pre-shave, because I've heard that because there's pre-shave. They have the pre-electric shave. You guys have pre-shave as well? Is there a balm or?
Oh yeah. What
is that? What is that? Like?
Cube is what I sell.
A cube. Nice.
It's a black cube. It's one of our characters in our story too, and he shows up in a lot of labels. But the pre-shave is something you would put on, you would wash your face. In my case anyways, or in this product's case, it's a soap. It's a pre-shave soap. So you wash your face with it first to degrease it, because those natural greases on your face can slow the blade down. You can catch on that too.
I've heard that.
So you want to degrease your face before you get into the shave. Actually, a shower is the best thing you can do before you get into a shave.
Sure.
And then with the pre-shave soap, when you're done and you're ready to apply the shaving lather to your face, you take the pre-shave soap and rub it against the grain, so the little hairs on your face catch the soap.
So going up instead.
With the pre-shave soap. And then when you apply your lather on top of that, it mixes and mingles with that pre-shave soap, boosting the lather. Yeah, and mixing it in there, creating more.
Because I've always had trouble getting the lather up. I mean, I could get it eventually, but it's like it takes time.
Water.
That makes
water
sense.
is the key. You want to keep dipping the brush in the water. But this is the thing, when you're running into problems with your neck and whatnot, you're probably you got to remember, or maybe you don't know this, but lather itself, the whole reason why we use lather is to hold moisture on your face, so the hairs and the whiskers can suck it up. And lot of times,
just learned something new. I did not know that.
About 31% of the water on your face is what it's sucking up.
Wow.
And what we often do is we chase a baby butt smooth shave.
Sure.
Like you keep going and doing touch-up passes as we're shaving, because we can still feel hair there. The problem is it's a deception of the hair. It's loaded with water, so it's feeling fatter than what it actually is. A half an hour after you're done shaving, that goes back down and you have a smooth shave. So don't chase. Yeah, do not chase the baby butt smooth
I didn't know that.
You got to know when to stop. Even if you still feel hairs there, just stop, and then you need to experiment with this. That's the thing about
why does this sound like a Kenny Rogers song? You got to know.
Exactly.
Good Lord. I had no clue, dude. I mean, it makes sense. Hair does soak up water, duh, but I didn't realize like that.
It's like the against the grain pass. Everyone's talking about how going against the grain is bad. Going against the grain is bad when you're using a cartridge razor.
Yeah.
That comes out of cartridge razor shaving and whatnot. And somehow it passes over sometimes into traditional shaving. People still talk about that. And it's like, no. If you do an against the grain pass, wait for it to be the last pass you do. Meaning you've lathered up, you've shaved with the grain, then you've rinsed, lathered up again, shaved across the grain. Rinse, lathered up again, shaved across the other way, and now you're on your fourth pass. You're lathering up. Now you go against the grain, because it's giving your hairs enough time to suck up as much water as possible, making it thicker, fatter, and easier for the blade to hit. So
4 passes, 4 latherings, dude. I would never have thought it would take. Now I get why it's a real me time through half-hour deal.
Yes. Oh,
but it makes sense as to why, though. I mean, knowing that has to happen in order for the real shit. I didn't know that.
Yeah. And then you have your face lathering versus bowl lathering. Some guys like to bowl lather, some likes to face lather. I actually sell a scuttle, which is a bowl. It's like a double jacketed bowl. The bottom part of the vessel is filled with hot water, and then there's a second bowl on top, and that keeps it hot during the entire shave. And that's what you build your lather in. And you're also putting the brush back when you're done lathering with it in there in between shaving.
So it stays warm too.
Warm. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, there's a bunch of different tools for the job that you need to experiment with as many as you possibly can, and find what really works, like really fine tune it for you. Because once you do dial all this in, you're never going to look back. You're never going to pick up a cartridge razor again.
Sure. Well, I don't do cartridge razors ever anymore. After I finally started getting into single blades, I was like, now I don't feel the same doing cartridge shaves. It just doesn't work for me anymore.
No. And it's a whole different technique. You got to press
completely
down with
different.
the cartridge razor. Unless, it's always tough when guys switch from cartridge razor to double-edged shaving, is because they start using the same technique, bad technique.
Yeah.
Like they press down with the double edge. Don't press down with this. Let the weight of the razor. I mean, these things have substance to them. Let the weight of the head do the work for you.
Heavy. That's the other part. I know I'm actually holding something.
Yes, it's substantial.
And the angle pull on it, you can from just slightly tilting, I can tell the difference of how much that blade's about to pull.
30 degrees.
Pull. Yeah.
30 degrees. And what that is, it's a fixed setting or a fixed angle to mimic a straight razor. That's the same angle you want to use when you're using a straight razor across your face. It's
bring that closer to the camera so guys can see it for the guys that are on.
Oh yes, I forgot.
Just so you guys can see that. You see. Yeah, there you go. So you see how. So when it closes, it actually bends the blade on each side.
Yes.
So
those are silo doors, and this is a butterfly style safety razor,
which is what I have.
I prefer a 3-piece one. However, this is one of our razors.
Okay.
And a 3-piece means it's in 3 pieces. The handle screws off. You have a top cap, is the blade, right? The bottom cap. I feel like this gives you more control.
Okay.
And these are a little more clunkier and tough under the nose. So this one is more of a low profile. And so But I mean, whatever works for you. It's your mileage may vary, and that's what the great thing about this is there are certain rules that you should follow, techniques, but for the most part, it's what works for you at the end of the day. And if you're interested, anyone's interested in learning more about or just want to see it done, go to howtowetshave.com.
There you go.
And that's where I do a video on showing people how to use one of our starter kits, actually. But howtowetshave.com will get you in the door. And
I know
I'll
I'm going
explain
to
some
take
of
a
the
look.
concepts better there. Yeah, you'll definitely. And here's another one, actually. This is a 3-piece. This is Bakelite. I based this design off Bakelite is the original plastic.
Oh, really?
The old telephones were made out of Bakelite, poker chips, jewelry. Yeah. So we went back after I collect vintage razors as well, as I mentioned, and I fell in love with old designs that they don't make anymore. So I went and found a manufacturer that did Bakelite, and I said, "Can you do a razor for me?" And they're like, "What?" And it was based on a German design called the Fasan. And this one is a slant razor, an open comb slant. So what this does is it bends the blade, so it's hitting your hair more like a guillotine. It's a more efficient cut than a straight cut. So it bends the blade, changes the geometry of that, and makes for a closer shave, at least in this case. And with me, it's going to be different.
I'm going to want to try that blade right there because that looks pretty damn cool.
There's so many. And like once you want to talk about rabbit hole, go on eBay, look up vintage.
No, because I'll never get off eBay. I do that. Not because I know the next one after that will be Amazon right after. I promise.
But I mean, like, again, if you're into antiques and old things, like the beautiful thing about this is they still work, and you can find so many great ones online. Part of our show is my
blade. It's about the piece itself, and
it's aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah.
Look at that. I mean, it's beautiful. It's form and function, and you don't get that with these cartridge plastic one size fits all razors. You don't. And,
it's so funny that you say it that way because the more we talk, the more I think about the old plastics. The handles do not change. Now, of course, their specialty handles have their little slide grip, slide-proof grip and all. Not any different, honestly.
Yeah, all the vibrating or heated razors, all that stuff, nothing's new under the sun. Gillette's and vintage razors, rather, they've been doing that for years. The vibrating razors go back to the early 1900s that you would twist them and they vibrate. There was always just these different, buzzwords they were using to sell their products and try to, gain some of the market share away from Gillette.
Interesting how marketing always comes back into the picture. It's never the product. It's always the story and the words surrounding it.
Gillette especially, they created
they're really good. Yeah, they did.
Sell the razor for cheap, and they would sell the blades after the fact that you had to keep buying. They were the first ones to do that. They also convinced women that they had to shave. They created their own market for ladies shaving. It was Gillette.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You just you're gonna upset a lot of women.
Who's the guy who just wrote Propaganda? Bernays, who was actually Sigmund Freud's nephew.
Oh my goodness.
He created marketing. Marketing as we know it now was created by him in the 1920s, 1930s. But even women smoking, he got women smoking, he got women shaving. But Bernays is like, he's using Freudian psychology, which is still in practice today in marketing. But it goes back, and Gillette was taking advantage of that at the time too. And so they really caused that. And that being said, I think they're pure evil, and I don't collect vintage Gillettes. I collect vintage European razors, which I think are far more attractive and effective.
Okay, so let's finish up the shave. We've gotten through the shave. We did the 30-degree angle. We've gotten
then comes the aftershave,
and then comes the aftershave. And this is one that I don't think I've ever found one that was really that good.
Okay, well, that's another great thing about this niche and this hobby. We offer over 75 different scents. Something for everybody. That's a lot of color. I mean, we actually, based on different things.
Goodness.
I have one that smells like dirt, like fresh soil. I have another one that smells like tombstone. It's got gunpowder, leather.
I can do the dirt.
Yeah. Okay. You like that. I mean, we've done so many different themes. I try to create scent collages. I created my first perfume when I was about 8 years old.
Wow.
A chemistry set. Yeah, my mom still has it actually. But so scents always fascinate me. We haven't even gotten to that. But perfuming is what we do. We do old school perfuming techniques. Our aftershaves take 4 to 6 weeks to complete before it's done. And we don't make straight up aftershaves. We make aftershave cologne. So they're like 2 in 1. But that's an antiseptic, and that's what you need. That's pretty much back in the day. People would go to the barber and sometimes die after the fact because
Yeah.
they get a microcut and it would become infected, so on and so forth. They get sepsis and they'd be dead.
Yeah.
In fact, Henry Thoreau, the reason why he left for Walden Pond is he was mourning the death of his brother, and that's how he died, from a barbershop shave.
Oh my gosh, really?
So yeah, so it's all about the antiseptic properties of aftershave. That's why we use them. That's the primary use of an aftershave.
Which would explain the alcohol deal
exactly.
Okay, got it.
And the scent is secondary. And so what we do, we find that guys like the matching soap and the matching aftershave after that, the matching deodorant, the whole line, as do I.
Yeah.
But you can really change and alter your mood. I mean, the sense of smell is our strongest sense in our body. You know that. It's like a time machine. Smell something when you're back and you're 8 years old. So we really we push that with our designs or scent designs and what we're doing story-wise too. So we'll just create different atmospheres. I've done trilogies too, where you mix and match our different soaps and aftershaves to create one solid scent at the end. So it's up to you to how strong or potent that's going to be, or the image, the scent image that you're going to create. So I mean, for more on that, you can just go to our site.
So much to this, dude. It's just way more than I thought.
It's a whole world. It's fat.
This is why I wanted you. I remember I said in the beginning, I said that I want to talk to him because I know there's more to this than even I know. And geez, man, this is far beyond anything I thought it would be.
It's magical. It really is.
I would agree.
Different world. It's a whole different world. And not only that, I mean, but even if you're not into that part, it's still an extension of style. Everyone's talking about style and man style, and you're only as good as you look. But people often drop the ball at the neck. I mean, above the tie, people forget about, and it's an extension of style. I went to StyleCon a few years ago, ended up speaking there, and they got everything covered except grooming. The grooming, the shaving, and whatnot. They always forget that, and that's a huge part because that's the part people are talking to.
What happened? That used to be a huge deal from the 20s throughout up to the 60s. Men's grooming was a big deal.
Yeah.
What happened? Where did we lose track of this? Because if it's great. I can go out, put on a really nice suit. If I get some beard butter in this thing and get it nice and straight, this could be enhancing. But I mean, if you don't do that, you're just some dude in a suit, looks like a whiskey guy. It doesn't work.
Top.
It doesn't work. Yeah, exactly. Billy, that's funny. We were just talking about Billy Gibbons this morning.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Me and my business partner, we were sitting there talking. It was shit talking, but anyway. But you get the point. You can be as fashionable as the day.
Yeah.
If this isn't working, all of that is kind of worthless.
Doesn't work.
No, because there's no flow. Yeah, because they're going to look at you. Two places that people look when you first walk in as a male. Your watch, your shoes. After that, they go right from the floor to the top. If your face looks kind of off, guess what just happened to everything that they thought? Yeah. Out the window.
First impressions are important.
You got about
anyone says.
You got about 5 seconds for that to happen. And if that face ain't set
before you even open your mouth.
Yeah, you can't open your mouth. You've just walked in the room. If that's it. That's it.
You don't even get to pitch them.
Nope.
And even if you do, they're not listening. They're just looking at you, going, "Is that what's in his beard? There is that cracker? Is
that a nick on his face?
Yes. Well, razor burn and whatnot in the.
It shows up.
You see guys with the white little pieces of tissue they still have. Oh. First of all, don't use white tissue, guys, and get an Illume block or get a styptic pencil.
Yeah,
that's going to stop the bleeding right then and there. Styptics you get a lot of play out of those too. Yeah. Not only are they great in your bathroom, they're also great on your chopping block in the kitchen. If you cut yourself, it'll heal up a nick instantly.
Stings like hell, but boy, does it work.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure ex-wives invented those things. But styptic or potassium Illume. Illume blocks are also great, and they're multi-use.
I haven't tried that one. Is that just as effective?
It is, and it's like the Swiss Army knife. It's great for so many things.
Cool.
You've probably seen it in stores though. The crystal deodorants. It's the same stuff. So you can use it as a natural deodorant too. You wet it, it's like a crystal, and you can use it. It's antiperspirant or natural antiperspirant, but it doesn't have the blocking. It doesn't block like the synthetic
right.
antiperspirants. It's more of a deodorizer, and but it's used for water filtration, pickling.
Yeah.
At one time, the Pope actually had a monopoly on potassium Illume.
No way.
Story we cover on our show, yeah, so that's a great multi-purpose thing that should be in everyone's shave kit. And if you don't want to use an aftershave, an alcohol-based aftershave, just wet this, use that instead. It's an antiseptic as well. And it seals any small micro cuts up. It also gives you grip on the razor. So you wet your hands, you rub the block, and the razor, if you're a shower shaver, it'll stay stuck in your hands.
So for those of you that are weightlifters, it's like putting powder on your hands.
Yeah, I've actually recommended this on weightlifting shows. Yeah. It's better than that. I mean,
Well,
and
for
also
them,
for
for a lot
styling.
of power lifters, they got thick hands, so it's hard for
Yeah.
them to hold on to stuff. So just what you
Yeah.
said with alum is
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah, potassium aluminum also great. It gives a light hold to hair as well for like a light spike. Or what I do training my mustache when I get out of the shower,
I need that.
I use potassium aluminum to just bend it up to train it, and then I go eat breakfast. And before I leave the house, before I put wax in, it's already shaped, and I just add a little bit of wax for a natural look, not the like
You guys have wax?
insectoid type.
Because I need to get, this is getting long, and I need to do something about that.
We do
Okay,
wax.
cool.
Wax was one of our earlier products. But yeah, mustache wax. I mean, like it's part of my kit, a loom, for those reasons.
Okay.
For those few reasons. There's many more, but it's a great thing to have in your shave den.
Definitely going to be looking at that. Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing that. That's, dude, that's like major eye opening. That's way, way different than I thought, learned, knew, well, whatever you want to call it. That's just mind blowing. And again, guys, we'll have the links to those things down below, his channel, his podcast. You guys want to check all this out. So you've gotten to this point. You're doing very well, dude. You made 8 years. You passed the 2-year and the 5-year mark. Congrats.
Yes. Thank you.
Being somebody that was from angel investment, we were happy if anybody made it past year 1. But so you've done all of that. What's next?
Well, I'm actually perfectly content with where I'm going right now. And we have a conference every year. We're in our 6th year of doing the Big Shave West conference. We've done Big Shave East. We've done Big Shave West as well.
Are you guys, so this year you couldn't do it. Are you going to do it next year?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
Well, I mean, that's the idea. We're watching, as everyone else is in the world, what's going on with this current plague we're in. But if it turns out that it's still around and we can't get together, we might do an online type thing.
Sure.
But it's not really the same. It's not necessarily the same.
No, because you're not right there. Yeah.
Yeah, there's something about it. Like, I mean, we do like this great meetup. It's a typical conference, but I also have like side trips during the course of the week to Tombstone.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm the tour guide. I give like the nickel tour around Tombstone. We have, a bunch of different adventures we go on. We go to Old Tucson, which is a ghost town also. Right. Kayaking, all different types of events. And then the big event, by that time you've made friends, you have these different groups that you've created, and by the time of the event happens, you already have your like circle.
Yeah.
And you have panels, you have all different artisans, razor makers. We just have so much going on. It's kind of like a carnival for traditional shaving and male grooming.
You'll have to keep me in the loop on that, because that's something I'd probably come and hang out and just to see what it's like. Those are always fun. Those are always fun.
It's a blast. And we have podcasters that show up there too and just walk around recording, or we give them a panel to talk about what they do as well. Yeah.
Sweet. Well, yeah, if I probably would end up doing something over there. I mean, yeah. If it falls on there any day for that matter.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'll just be pulling out the microphone. Hey, you got a second?
Oh, it's great. Cigar night.
Yeah, right.
Ghost stories around the fire. We do it all.
You just said the magic words.
Oh, nice.
Cigar night.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would love this. But yeah, Legends of Superstition Mountains. It was a History Channel show. One of the guys from that show, from the old Dutchman Mine show.
Yeah.
He comes and he tells ghost stories, Arizonian ghost stories around the fire at the hotel.
Aww.
And it's so cool.
It sounds like a blast, dude. It
is a blast.
Keep me in the loop, because
it takes half a year to put this together. So
sure.
Aside from running the business, I'm doing that. I'm doing our show. And so you asked me what more am I looking? It's like, we're already doing everything.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't.
Right. No, that's a good
next
thing.
would be selling the business and sitting on a beach, which I would love to do.
A truly entrepreneurial move. What's the exit?
Yeah.
Nice.
Not necessarily I'd love to sell the business, but I'd love to sit on the beach is what I'm saying.
Well, you don't have to sell it. You could just, let somebody else run it, and that could be considered an exit as well.
Yeah.
Cool. Out of all of this, what would be your biggest challenge going on in the business right now?
Oh, well, actually, it's tough to say. I was going to say COVID, but I mean that only affected
I was going to say aside of the minor things. What are some of the what's the biggest, like, just what are you facing right now that's holding anything up?
Well, COVID, just because it's our supply chain, it's affected the shipping and whatnot.
Sure.
So aside from that, though, I mean, we've just have it so dialed in at this point. I mean, really, we've had and with COVID, our business has been booming better than ever.
Well, I would think so.
That. Yeah. But then there's the supply chain. But luckily, we always on top of our stuff and our orders and whatnot. We were ready for that the thing is, this is it. What I've learned, especially during COVID, to say that again, is you need to make a a business or build a business that can survive something like this.
Yep.
We lucked out. Turns out making soap was a really good move when it came to a plague type situation, because everyone's buying soap and hand sanitizer off us.
Yep.
Also, we're relevant still.
Yeah.
So I hate to say think of the worst, plan for the worst, hope for the best. But
Yep.
really, when you're putting together a business model and a business plan, take this stuff into consideration now. I know insurance agencies are going to be doing that now.
Oh, yeah.
Booking this event that we had in April, we almost didn't get our money back because it was no clause in the contract that we signed for something like this.
Mhm.
Now there definitely will be, and we will, proceed with these little things in mind. So I think that is it was again, we lucked out. We learned either way.
Yeah.
Had we been affected in a bad way, we would have learned from it. But watching what's going on around us, we learn from that. So always learn from your mistakes. Don't, just always be watching, learning, and listening. Make as many mistakes as you possibly can.
Thank you.
Nothing's bad when it comes to mistakes, because those are the best teachers I've learned. And we've made every mistake in the book. I've definitely made every mistake in the book.
I think we all have at some point in time. Absolutely.
Some people don't. Some people won't, and that's why they'll never succeed. I mean, you see,
it's interesting
people
to
are afraid
see.
to advertise.
Yeah.
They're like, no, I don't. I would never do. Oh, I'm not going to be one of those. It's like, that's poverty mindset. You got to get over that, because no one's going to sell your product better than you.
Yeah.
They're not going to.
Yep.
And as a musician, as a fellow musician, like, you got to get out there. You can't be the artist. I'm an artist. I'm not a manager. You got to be it all. Else you're not going to go. Look at Ani DeFranco. Look at Prince. Look at all these guys. I mean, they were out there. Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
I mean, he sold himself. But people don't realize that. But he was out there saying he was an old-time blues singer in New York. He lied to get away, but it's his passion. And if you're going to do what you want, I'm not telling people to lie, but if you're passionate, you want to do it for the rest of your life, you got to get out there. And I took, guerrilla marketing from my old band days. I used to go around to the different, like, newspaper stands, those college rags pass out, those different boxes. I take those to my car, stuff it with our flyer, find another one.
There you go.
Take out those newspapers, put ours in. Or I'd go to a music store and be like, hey, this is our band. Would you mind selling some of these? They'd be like, yeah, we'll take a few. And then during the week, I'd send in friends with money. I was guerrilla marketing.
Yep.
I'd send in friends to buy our albums, to create buzz around it. And I'd go back in like, anything sell? And they'd be like, oh my God, can we have 10 more, 50 more? So it's like, it's the same approach. Or design wise, I was always doing the flyering too. So I mean, like, that's how you learn. I mean, whatever you've learned, you can apply to what you're doing. And if you don't have those skills, you can learn those skills. YouTube is a huge, I mean, we just didn't have that.
YouTube University.
It's something else. I mean, when I had a design business, when I was living in Central America, I had a design business there too. I eventually created, because I didn't want to make $1 an hour. I need to make some money. So I was, designing menus, placemat advertising. In fact, I brought placemat advertising, the concept, to Central America. But I mean, like, a lot of those times I'd be approached by people ask me if I could do a certain job. I never said no. Yeah. Even though I couldn't do it, didn't know how to do it, YouTube helped me get through that. I was learning on their dime, so to speak. So I mean, you didn't have this back then. You didn't have this advantage that you have now. And a lot of kids are growing up in this. They don't realize that, but you have the tools at your disposal.
That's kind of funny. I just had an interview earlier this week with Andrew Chestnut, who does learning management systems. He actually helps people put learning programs, coaching, but online. Like the Teachable, those Udemy's and stuff like that.
All right.
Just said the same thing that you did. There's so much
He's
available.
a smart man.
There's so much available online that's free that you can already get at least the basics down and figure out more from there. And then if you're going to go into any of those learning platforms, you're going to get what you pay for. So
it's the best. You're going to get what you pay for, and more. It's the best teacher.
And more. And then
when you have to learn on the fly like that, because that's when you have to learn, and that's when you're going to be most focused on that project. And that's when you're going to get it. If you don't have to learn it and you're just trying to learn, it's not going to stick, especially when you get older like us. It's when you have to learn it. And that's why I'm saying always say yes to the job, like China does. Always say yes to the job, whether you know it or not. They're going to learn on your dime. Yeah.
I always go.
They already have your money, so it's like.
I always go with Sir Richard Branson on that. Just say, figure it out later.
Yeah. No, it's right. Fake it till you make it. That's what you got to do.
It essentially becomes that. Yeah, it essentially is that, and there's so much truth in the fact that if you will just go and learn, like I'm learning DaVinci Resolve right now. Talk about a learning curve. I am not a video editor. I'm loving what I'm learning, although I'm still having to process a ton of it, because I have friends that are producers, and they told me, you need to go learn that. But you also need to go learn this. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm just trying to get through the old stuff and you're telling me about new stuff already.
No.
And they're like, but here's the deal. If you learn that, you'll have the foundations. And if you know this, you'll be a step ahead of everybody else that knows the old stuff. And I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, it's true.
it gives you some decided advantages that you didn't realize you had. So,
Yep.
man, we're well past that time. I don't want to stop, but it's like,
Yeah, not fair enough.
we have that limit. So, and I've completely enjoyed this, Douglas. Not to mention I've learned a ton. I've really enjoyed this. Thank you for coming and hanging out, sharing your wisdom and knowledge. There's more to share. And guys, if you want to find Douglas online, where can they find you?
Well, first I'd say stop by our shop, which is phoenixshaving.com. And we have everything there for, male grooming, beards, mustaches, to shaving. We got you covered no matter what you're doing. Deodorants,
love it,
aftershaves, colognes, so on and so forth. But if you're interested in watching us and what we do, go to lather.shaving.com. Again, highly educational as well as entertaining.
Yeah.
So I'd lather.
I can bet after this, I'm sure this was entertaining as it was.
You have no idea, man. We get kind of crazy on that show.
Sweet.
And what else do we have? So, and bigshaveswest.com. That's our conference.
And then of course we'll have your social links down there too, guys. If you're looking for them, they're down there in the comments. Again, thanks for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button and then the bell, because the bell tells you when the next episode comes out. Yes. So don't miss that. Make sure you go find his YouTube channel and go subscribe and hit that bell too, because there's going to be some cool stuff over there as well. If you're listening on any of the podcast platforms, don't forget to subscribe, download, what have you. If you listen to us on Anchor, you can always support our little Java chat here. Any donations are very welcome. Keeps us going. It's something small, but it's great. We love you, and we're thankful for every single one of you for stopping in and listening. Always remember, y'all, stay up, stay safe, stay healthy, and live. For Douglas and myself, to all of you, ciao for now.
Ciao, ciao.
For more information on Java Chat, visit www.javachatpodcast.com. You've been listening to Coffee with Mike on Java Chat. Tune in weekly to this podcast for the next episode. You can also download or subscribe today on your favorite podcast platform. A production of Oasis Media Group, LLC. Located in Las Vegas, Nevada. Copyright 2019. All rights reserved.